Corso and Catone.
Listen, Mark, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to?
Presented by Special Sauce Podcast, Studio 42 Design, and Corso Law Group. Now for the real deal New England feel, Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe is in the booth, and you're joining us, watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you podcast, and of course, Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S, right? Some people have told me they can't understand what I'm saying when I say PATS. PATS! So give us a call 24/7. Leave us a message. We want to hear from you. Anything's on the table, and Joe's going to select one. We want that one to be yours. So 855-313-7287. Pats, right? Pats, Mark.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hey,
I'm in a bad mood. I'm in a bad mood today.
You're always in a bad mood. You're going to be cheery like me and smiling. You know?
He doesn't have to make those drugs.
You know?
Yeah, I am. I'm in a bad mood. I don't know. By everybody's going to watch this, it'll be Saturday. Celtics will probably be out of it. It's Thursday right now. They're about to tip off. We got a lot to say on that, don't we, Mark?
Oh, we have a lot to say. Yeah, a lot to say. Yeah.
So here we go. It's going to be B's and C's. Look who's right again. We're always right. So, not to give it away, but look who's right again. And then, of course, Catone's comments. Looking forward to that later on in the show. We're going to hear from one of you in the nation in Heated Hotline. And some Yankees versus Red Sox. Mark has a few good points today to bring up, so stick around and pay attention. And gentlemen, let's Celtics are still in it, and so let's get into that. And we have something interesting to talk about: B's versus C's. All that right now, Joe. B's and C's. So as I said, Mark, it's Thursday. It's 3-1 in the series. They survived to make it a sweep, to not to have it be a sweep, right? And won one game. So, what does that do for you, Mark?
Oh, hell of a lot. Well,
is it a series? Is it a series, Mark?
You know what?
Right
Listen, I'm going to we're going to get into that, but you know what pisses me off, Chris?
Yeah.
Now you got swept. I'm sorry, you not swept. You lost the first 3 games. Game 3, you got pretty much embarrassed, right, in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
And they got lambasted the next couple of days in the media by everybody, whatever. But Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown, who, you know what, I got a lot to say about Jaylen Brown. I'm about had enough of him. But anyways, and his antics and all his BS, right? But they're saying publicly, Chris, don't let us get one. Don't let us get one. Like, in other words, if we win game 4, we're going to win this thing. Don't let us get one. What are you that delusional? Like, I understand they've won game 7s. They beat Philly. They beat Milwaukee last year. I understand that. But winning one game is a long way from making it to a game 7. It's not like tonight's game 7 and now you can win it at home. You're still down 3-1. Don't let us get one. Is this team that cocky and brash that they think they could just, now they won a game, they're going to turn it on and they're going to beat Miami? Really? Really?
They're delusional is what they are if they think that. Listen, I'm just going to tell you one thing, okay? The Heat haven't lost back-to-back since before March.
Okay.
The Heat, everybody hear that out there? The Heat haven't lost back-to-back games since before March 19th or something like that.
Okay. So. Well, now that's a good start. You did some research, Chris. I'm impressed.
I know. This is why I'm in a bad mood, among other things. So, okay, Mark, look, is it a series right now? And talk about, I want to talk about the players first. And then get into Missoula a little. We'll break this up a little bit, so it's because we're pissed off enough, and I want it to be organized. So for the people out there that need to know the real reason, the real story from us, the real deal, New England feel, Mark, what's going on? Why is it a series? What happened here?
Is it a series? Well, they're still playing, so I guess it's a series, right?
Yeah,
Because,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no. So listen, my personal opinion, Celtics probably win tonight. My prediction is they're going to get blown out in game 6, like blown out. Like it's going to be playoff Jimmy Butler. Miami will be on fire at home. The crowd will be crazy. Boston's going to go in there all cocky, thinking that, hey, we're going to get to game 7 and win this, and they're going to get the doors blown off them in game 6. That's my prediction. Because I will say this, Chris, and this is why Miami's winning this series. Joe Mazzulla cannot beat Eric Spoelstra 4 times in a row. Not happening. Just because of pure coaching. Mazzulla is not beating Spoelstra 4 times in a row. It's a physical impossibility. If he beats him 4 times in a row, I'll eat my shirt on this show after game 7. How's that?
Gonna eat a shirt, Joe.
I'd like to see that. I really would like to see that.
How's that?
Okay. So, no, I don't think it's a series, and I disagree with you about tonight because they've shown me nothing that tells me they're going to protect home court. That matters at all. 1 ounce that they're playing at home. And
Well, the
kudos
reason
to
I
the
said
fans.
that, Chris,
They've showed up, Mark. Listen, they've
Yep.
showed up. The fans have showed up. The fans have tried. The trained to play. And then Jaylen Brown's BS, okay, about calling the fans out. When's somebody going to call you out? So, Mark, I want to talk about the players. Talk to me about what you see in the play, and then we'll get to the bench.
Okay, so the reason I think they're going to win tonight, Chris, is the kid that's been eating them alive, that rolled his ankle in game 4, isn't
Lowry.
playing tonight. Gabe Vincent is out.
Oh, Vincent,
They
I'm
ruled him
sorry.
out.
I'm sorry. Blue
Yeah,
sneakers.
he didn't even make the trip because they figure, you know what? Ice it, rest it, get treatment.
Yeah.
If we have to come back here for a game 6, we need you healthy because Spoelstra knows game 6 in Miami. They will. I'm telling you, they're going to blow the doors off the Celtics in game 6 if they get by tonight. I'm just telling you. But listen, Chris, so what's going on in this series? Lack of mental toughness. They're not a mentally tough team. Okay. Yeah, they won game 4. You know what? Yeah, they were hitting shots from the outside. Miami made some mistakes, things that they didn't do. I guess they played better defense in game 4 than they've played, but they're not a mentally tough team, Chris. They live and die by that 3-point shot. Okay. They live and die by the 3-point shot. And when it's not working, they can't fall back on anything else, Chris. There's no driving to the basket. There's no ball movement. There's no, in the old days with Udoka, they'd be doubling and double screening. You don't see any of that anymore, Chris. It's just, quick move, 1 or 2 passes, throw up a 3, throw up a 3, throw up a 3. And listen, that's not working. What are you going to do differently? They can't adjust. Okay, they can't adjust. But the mental toughness and the lack, Chris, of a defensive identity. Okay, Marcus Smart. I thought Marcus Smart was a dog, tenacious. Marcus Smart has been getting his lunch given to him on the defensive side of the ball in this series. He played a little better in game 4, but where did the defense go, Chris? That was their calling card, was defense, and that's the reason why they made it to Golden State last year. Not because of Tatum and Brown scoring. It was because their calling card was defense. They were like pit bulls out there on defense. That's gone. That's gone. Where is
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, look at the friggin' defense. It all starts and stops to me with for this team with the defense, transition stuff, spacing, all the things we're not seeing. So I mean, no, and there's no rotating over. They're letting guys get into the paint with layups every single time, just layups to the basket. Nobody rotates over, and when somebody gets to the rim, they make that decision at the last second. Tatum and company. I don't want to get the foul here, so go ahead.
Chris, what about when Miami does get a defensive rebound and they decide to push the ball up the court because the Celtics missed a shot? Did you see the effort on on Tatum running back?
Talk about Tatum.
Back?
Yeah.
Like just in game 3, Chris, his effort running up and down the court, he was just totally checked out.
What do you mean when he wasn't bitching about getting a call when he missed a shot on the other end? When he tried to drive the lane against 3 guys, didn't read properly and didn't kick it out and get spacing and then go from the corner, maybe to the point and back to the corner for an open 3-pointer or another drive to the basket by a guard. Does this crap sound familiar? Because that's the kind of stuff we were seeing all season long, and we're not seeing it now. So he's bitching and complaining at the officials. He's not getting the call, right? And then what's happening is Look, Kenny Smith, who I love those guys on TNT, okay? Kenny Smith said, look at the picture. He said, look at the videos. They don't lie. He said, when you see guys doing this with their backs arched, I'm arching my back as if I'm running, okay? When you see guys like that, there's hustle. When you see guys standing straight up, there it is. And there's too many guys standing straight up when Miami's on the break, Mark. So that's a huge issue. And then on the offensive side of the ball, for me, there's no spacing. When the other night they moved the ball well, you and I in the fourth quarter saying now this is what they're supposed to look like. The ball's moving. Jaylen Brown, or not even Jaylen Brown, you talk about him in a second. Jason Tatum is starting that drive to the paint and realizing the double's coming every single time. Every single time they're clogging the paint, and he quickly saw the play, made the play, and that's why they did better. Talk about the superstars,
they did,
Mark.
Chris. And the other thing they did on offense, Chris, he identified the double team and made a quick decision. But guys, Chris, were also moving and cutting to the basket.
Without the ball.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They were just standing around and letting him get double teamed, and nobody was trying to make a move to even get the ball from him. The other night, you saw a couple of times he was double teamed and Marcus Smart slid open and called for the ball. He kicked it to him and he hit shots, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't happening. So the movement of the other guy, everybody was moving and doing what they should be doing on offense in game 4. Right?
Mark, tell me about the superstars on this team, please. Tell me about the superstars. Tell me about the max guys. The max
you got two All-NBA players in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and they're going to be super max guys. They're not even max guys, Chris, because they're part of your own team. They call these guys super max guys now. Imagine super max. What is it, like a superhero? I don't know. Getting old, right? Yeah. Well, listen, Chris. Jaylen Brown.
Super bad is what it is. Super bad.
I'm just going to say this, okay? Jaylen Brown, I don't care what happens in this series. They come back, they win, because they're going to get their ass kicked by Denver anyways. But we're not going to ever have to talk about that because they're not going to get there. But Jaylen Brown, I'm done with this Jaylen Brown. He's a superstar. Jaylen Brown is no superstar. He's no supermax player. Jaylen Brown in this series, Chris, the effort on the defensive end. Oh, he made a steal the other night. Big deal. The effort on the defensive end is not there. He's not his offensively, Chris. He's I don't know what he's doing out there. It's like he's lost. Every time he tries to drive to the basket, he loses the ball. He's back to losing the ball again, like he was in that Golden State series. He's not hitting shots. He's missing free throws. He's not rebounding. I don't know what he's giving you. I really don't know what he's giving you. He certainly isn't a super max guy. If you think he's a super max guy, you don't know anything about basketball. He's living off some reputation. Somehow, some way he made second team All-NBA. I don't know how that even happened. I think that's why they suck up to the other players around the league, because I think that helps, right? I think that helps, sucking up the other players around the league and being liked by everybody. They hobnob at All-Star Weekend, and they asked Jaylen Brown, and I take offense to this, Chris. And if this was a Bill Belichick team, and I hate to mix up sports, Belichick would have reamed him out. When they asked him about what Grant Williams did in game 2 when he went nose to nose with Jimmy Butler, instead of saying, hey, you know what? He was into the game. He was aggressive. He said, well, you saw the tape. Next question. Like, he didn't have his own teammates back. He was basically agreeing with he revved Butler up. I think the question was, do you think that got Jimmy Butler going? And he said, well, you saw the tape. Next question. What? Defend your guy. He's your teammate. Are you kidding me? So you know what, Chris? Jaylen Brown, at the end of the year, trade him, get some pieces. We talked about this, Chris. Oh, I've talked about it with you. This team has too many guys that do the same thing, Chris. You watch these other teams like Golden States and Denver and these other teams. They have complementary pieces, Chris. That's why they're winning. Okay, we got too many guys. We got 3 guards that do the same thing. You mentioned this during the season. Who's going to start in the playoffs? You got White. You got Brogdon. You got Smart. Who's starting? They all do the same thing. You didn't need to spend the capital you spent to get Malcolm Brogdon. You should have went and got a complimentary piece that did other things that could have helped Tatum and Brown, right? They don't have that on this team. That's what this team's missing. Brown needs to be traded in the offseason, Chris, and bring in, if Tatum's your 1, okay, I don't think he's a 1. I still don't think he's that alpha male in the room, but bring in pieces that can help him. So when a playoff series like this, it can lessen the burden on him. We don't have that. We have too many guys that do the same damn thing. This is something that Brad Stevens is going to take the hit for that, Chris, because he constructed this team. Everybody was kissing his ass all year. Guess what? This team is fundamentally flawed. And Miami is showing you, Golden State showed you in the finals that they're fundamentally a flawed team when the pressure's on and teams force you to come up with more than just Jason Tatum and maybe Jaylen Brown. They got too many guys that do the same thing, Chris.
16 points a game, 39%, 12% from 3-point. Free throws, he's 44%, and he's got 3 turnovers a game. So
it's Jaylen Brown.
Supermax player, Jaylen Brown.
And with Tatum, not a supermax player. Yeah, he's not a supermax player, Brown. What about Tatum? What do you think of Tatum, Chris?
What is the for some of the fans out there? What is how does this relate to being a supermax? What is a supermax player like? What's the deal with that?
If you are retained, if you are on a team, Joe, when your contract is up, after your second contract, not your first, after your rookie deal, you can get a contract. They have a salary range in the NBA. It's a crazy scale they got. But after your second contract, only the team that you are on can offer you a deal that's called Supermax. It's above the limit of a contract for a third contract. And in the NBA, it's like a little over, isn't it like $300 million, Chris, for a Supermax guy? Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. It's a crazy number, right? So only the Celtics can offer them that money, Joe. If they decide to leave as free agents, they could get a max deal somewhere, but it's like in the mid-twos. They'd be throwing away like $75 million. They're not going to do that. That's why Chris is pissed off too, because they're gonna stay with the Boston. They're not going to throw that money away. But Chris, tell me about Tatum. What is your take on Tatum?
I said it a couple of weeks ago that they'll never win a championship with Jason Tatum as their one. Simply put, here's what it's come to me. It's finally come to me to understand who this guy is. Okay, what kind of player is he's a regular season superstar. He's a superstar he's a superstar when they need to. Like when nobody's playing defense, I guess is what I want to say. When nobody's playing defense, he's a superstar. So during the season, teams are lax in defense. They back off. There's not as you don't see the intensity you see from the Heat in the regular season. You just don't see it. And when you see that intensity, including from a coaching standpoint, when that happens, when that happens, he can't step up to the plate. Either he doesn't have the capability, talent-wise, to do it. Which I know people think oh my God, did you just say that? Did Corso just say that talent-wise he doesn't have the ability to take it to the next level? I just said that because that's what we see. We see it in spurts. We see it when teams lighten up. When teams make mistakes against the Celtics and how they defend them, Tatum goes off. Because those mistakes are the equivalent of playing down in the regular season because it's the regular season, 1 out of 82. I'll say so. When you get in the playoffs and they pick up the intensity, he can't answer. And I don't think he's good enough to, because he hasn't shown us that he can. Not only that, part of talent is your mental capability, is your mental makeup. So you say like, oh no, he's got the talent. He's just not a dog. He's just not a Jimmy Butler dog. Like Jimmy Butler's in the press conferences singing in after the loss, going, nothing to see here, nothing to worry about. This is what he's doing to you. This should piss you off, Tatum. It should piss you off to a degree where you go off for 60 tonight from the moment the freaking ball is kicked off. You know what I'm saying? But I guarantee you that will not happen. It won't happen. So part of not being a dog means there's not as much talent as you need. That's part of the talent. It's part of the talent. And he doesn't have it, and he's never going to have it. That's it.
So when I said mental,
I don't care about the X's and O's of it. That's it. Like he doesn't, but go ahead.
All right, no, so I agree with you. So you're saying, like I said earlier, that this whole team doesn't have mental toughness. Well, he's your superstar. He's supposed to have the mental toughness, right? You would think, Chris?
As he goes,
As
the
the
team goes.
superstar?
Why does Golden State? Why are they the way they are? Because of who? Curry. Why is any LeBron team the way they act? Because of LeBron. Why is the team in Milwaukee so professional? Because of Giannis. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you can keep
No,
going.
you're
Why
right.
is the Miami Heat dogs? Every one of them. Because of Jimmy Butler.
Why? Yeah,
I mean,
look at Denver's got Jokic. Jokic is a beast, and and that's what he does. And Chris, you brought up all those guys, right? And you know what else they have in common, Chris? Besides being mentally tough and dogs, Jokic the other night, when they sealed the game against L.A., did not come off the court. Didn't take a rest. You know why? Because LeBron played the whole game, and Jokic did not come off the court because LeBron didn't come off the court. And what did you say to me the other night, Chris? When Tatum, they were in the middle of a run. There was no way that Missoula took Tatum out. Tatum wanted a blow. He took himself out. Then all of a sudden, Miami started to come back, and Missoula calls a timeout, and then Tatum gets back in the game. And that was the game the Celtics won. But dogs don't come off the court, Chris. They don't.
No, that's it. It's all part of. I know. I'm like to the point tonight because that's what it is. How much more do you need to see? I'm curious what this team would have looked like if you made the trade for Durant. See, because he would have been the one at that point. He's the one,
and that's what Tatum needs, Chris.
He can handle the mental, or whatever. I think. I don't know, but
that's what Tatum needs, Chris. He needs that. He needs that play. And I'm going to say this before we switch. I know we're going to want to switch to Missoula, but I just going to say one thing. 30 seconds. Joe, do you play the tape? Last year, Mr. Corso tried to tell me that Jason Tatum was as good, if not better, than Curry going into the finals. He'll never live that down, Joe. He couldn't tie the shoes of Curry, who's an all-time great at his position. And Jason Tatum will never be considered an all-time great at his position. End of story. Let's talk about Joe Mazzulla.
This is a guy, okay, that it's I know he knows basketball. Okay, I know he knows basketball. I mean, if anybody's going to sit here and say he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about basketball. Okay, he knows basketball. He has no experience in these situations. Okay, and I'm not giving him an out at all. He has no experience because his attitude sucks behind it. This is the thing. So he's got no experience in these situations. So, with that, there is a little bit of a pass in that regard that you don't have any experience. You don't know what you don't know. Okay, so you're falling behind. There's times in games where it's too fast for him. He just doesn't understand the bang a timeout when you need to. He did it the other night. He called a timeout. They got together. They fixed it. They came back out, and they went on another run. He doesn't do it enough or at all. He takes these things home with him. So my problem with him is, so he has no control of the team. My problem with him is his attitude doesn't match that. He's not a guy. He's a guy that has a big, huge chip on his shoulder. Okay. It's because he's from Johnston and we're from North Providence, and that's what we have, right, Mark? We got chips on our shoulders. That's what we all are growing up in those places.
I guess. Right? I guess.
So he's got a major chip on his shoulder, right? All the time. Real stoic, real tough, real one-word answers, real Belichick-like. Yeah, you're not experienced enough to do that. You're drowning over there. And so your response to that is to come out punching the people. Look, that's why people don't like him. That's why people aren't giving him a pass, because of his inexperience, because he acts like a jerk. So if you're going to act like a jerk, here's my thing. If you're going to go down as a coach, then go down punching the right people. Okay? Go down punching. I put this 80%, 70% on the players. 65, 70% I got on the players. Jason Tatum, namely. The rest of it is on him, obviously. So go down punching the players, because that's who you should be punching, because that's that's missing from this team.
Yeah. Chris, even in the press conference after game 3, he said, we weren't ready. We weren't prepared. That's on me. He kept saying it's on me. He should have said, he could have said that, but he could have said, listen, we lacked intensity. We weren't mentally tough. We didn't execute. We all got to do a better job. It's on me. I got to prepare them better, but we all got to do a better job. And that's something Belichick always says. We didn't play. We didn't.
No matter what.
Well, we didn't pass well. He names every part of the team,
including himself.
And he names coaching at the same time. And that's something Missoula's going to do. But he's never called out players, Chris. So he doesn't hold them accountable. In game 3, when they were getting blown out, Chris, Horford sat in the coach's chair twice and tried to rally the team. What the hell is that about? Are you kidding me?
Imagine somebody taking Popovich's chair.
Oh,
during that.
Right.
Look,
right.
And again, this is the thing. We're comparing him to guys like Popovich. You can't do that. It's not fair. I get it.
No, it's
but
not.
then have the attitude to match. I mean, and shame on the damn players. All these rumors. Look, I don't believe in rumors. What I believe is these jerk players get disgruntled and they start telling people things. They stop saying things to people. Oh, we're still upset about Udoka. I don't know. You weren't upset in January. You didn't seem too upset in January. I mean, you had November, December, January, February, March, April. You had all these months to get over it. Get over it. You're upset that the Udoka situation, that they weren't told enough. You don't have to be told enough. I mean, if that's an issue that happened upstairs, hey, you know what? He's not the coach anymore. He broke the rules. That's it. Move on.
First of all, the Celtics.
By the way, they'd be doing better if he was here, though. If Udoka was here,
he
they'd
definitely would be
defense.
doing better. Definitely, if he was here. But Chris, the Celtics leaked information out on Udoka they shouldn't have. All they simply had to say, the Celtics did mishandle the situation. All they simply had to say was, it's an HR matter. It's confidential. Right. It's an HR matter. He's no longer the coach. He violated a major team rule, and we have to release him. He's suspended, and then eventually they permanently fired him. And that's all it had to say. I mean, if you want to internally have a conversation with the players, I get it, but they shouldn't even have released anything publicly at all.
I'm sure they did.
And maybe the players didn't like why he was fired.
Well, you know what? Because the players are trying to come up with excuses now, Mark, for how shitty they're doing on the court, and so it's everything else, right?
But bottom line is, Chris, at the end of the day, you're professionals. Act like professionals. Do your job. Win games. And you're mad because they get rid of the coach because what happened with the coach. Okay, but like you said, Chris, this is going on all year now. You positioned yourself to make a run to win a championship. Milwaukee's knocked out. Golden State's knocked out. Yeah, Denver's still there. But you should at least you have had an easy path to the finals. You should at least get to the finals. If Denver beats you, hey, I personally think Denver's a better team. So that's okay. You lost to Denver. But Jesus Christ, Chris, you got to get there.
Yeah. So, again, things you can look at with Missoula for not doing timeouts, not focusing on defense, which is what he should be doing. Their focus should be defense. But you know what? I'm putting on, I don't want to hear about it. I'm putting it on the players. All they are is excuses. All they are is bitching at the officials. Now, they may prove us wrong. By the time this thing airs, they may be going into, what would it be? Game 6, possibly. So they may prove us wrong. They may come out and blow the doors off Miami tonight. I don't know, but Smolstrom is definitely eating Missoula's lunch for the percentage that you think coaching matters. But it's Jason Tatum. It starts and stops with him, period. So that's it, Mark. And so now here's the other thing. Okay. Just really quick, I wanted to talk Bruins versus Celtics. I'm not sure if we have the time to do that now. But
I don't know if it's appropriate yet, Chris, because the Celtics
let's
on
wait.
Doing that. We planned on doing it because we thought the Celtics were going to get swept.
Basically what we were going to talk about tonight was we were going to talk about which team is in worse shape. I mean, who's going to do the most, who's got the most problems moving forward, who can roll things back out and maybe hope for better. So we will. Mark's right. We will get to that. As soon as the Celtics get knocked out, which to me is going to be tonight, but we'll see. So B's and C's was presented by Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Hey, listen, buckle up, come back. Catone's Comments is next.
It's the Special Sauce Podcast. You liking the sauce? The sauce is good, man. This will start out as funny as train them, trust them, and let them read. With your host, Marcus Arias. Tune in to Special Sauce Podcast, wherever you podcast. What's your special sauce? Hey! Catone's coming!
So I got a couple of things, a couple of pet peeves that bother me. Okay.
Mark,
and I'm gonna
before
bring
you
them up.
begin, wait, before you begin, the
Yep.
Celtics are up 23, it looks like, to 11, just so you know, with about 3 minutes left in the first
Listen, I
quarter.
told you they're gonna win tonight. I'm always right. I'm always right. And they're gonna
All
get
right.
the door blown off them in game 6.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. I have a couple of pet peeves, and I know that Mr. Corso is going to agree with me. I know he's going to agree with me. First of all, I went out a couple of weeks ago. I went out with my wife. Somebody gave us I don't know, some gift certificate for something. I don't know what it was for. So we go to this, a local, I'll say a 5-star restaurant. So, you got to dress up to go to a 5-star restaurant, right? So I'm dressed up. My wife's dressed up nice, right? We go in, we sit, we're going to have a drink before we eat dinner, whatever. I'm dressed up. There's people walking in there with jeans on, a shirt and jeans, shirts untucked, jeans. I'm looking. I don't know how they let him in the place, because years ago you wouldn't get it. They would tell you that you excuse me, you have to leave. They wouldn't let you in. They wouldn't let you in. They got jeans on, shirt untucked. And listen, I have no problem wearing jeans and a shirt untucked. I have no problem doing that. I do that all the time if I'm out with my wife. But this particular place we went to did not call for jeans and a shirt, just a shirt you wear, a polo shirt, whatever it is, untucked. It was a 5-star place where it's, show a little bit of respect and class. And people are in there in suits, ties, whatever. You're walking, and they let him in the place. They let him. How they let him in, I just don't know. I went to the bar. He was with a girl. I don't know, but they actually let him in. So I just don't understand the mentality of, you're going somewhere, dress the part, dress the role. You know where you're going. Like, what is it that hard to throw on a pair of pants? I don't know, dress pants, something, slacks, whatever. I don't know. The other thing is this, and I know Chris is going to hop on this. So last week, my daughter, she's graduating high school this year, so she had a National Honor Society ceremony where, they went and got their Honor Society cords and a couple of other things they get that they're going to wear over their gowns at graduation, right? So there's a group of them. There was, I don't know how many there were. They honored the seniors who were going to get this honor for their, you get a certain grade point average, whatever. Point is, they get their cords, and they also did something with the juniors. Okay. So I show up, I'm dressed up. I mean, it's a thing for my daughter. It's you're in a, it was at a place. Fine. Some of the kids, the way they were dressed, and I know the school told them something, because my daughter said they told them, you're going to wear X, this. They got sneakers on. They got, well, as a parent, you're going to you can't go get your kid a pair of shoes. You can't get your kid. Where my daughter goes to school, you're going to pay a good amount of money to send them there. So I know that these people can buy shoes for their kids. And then there was parents there, shorts, T-shirt, shorts, and a shirt. Like, you can't put on dress pants. It's a ceremony. It's a formal ceremony to honor your child for their academic success over 4 years in that school. You can't get dressed like you're going to a formal event. Now, I'll be going to her graduation in a couple of weeks. I said to my wife, I can just imagine if it's a 90-degree day, what these people are going to wear. You're going to a graduation for somebody, a family member, child, whoever it may be. Maybe you're an aunt, an uncle, I don't know. But it's a formal ceremony. Formal. I'm going to say it again. Formal. What does that mean? Maybe you need to dress up and look like it's a formal ceremony. I don't know what's happened to this country. I don't know what's going on. It's driving me bananas. And my wife says, you're crazy. I said, look at these people. Look how they're dressed. And she says, you're nuts. What do you care how they're dressed? It drives me crazy when I see people dressed like that, Chris. I don't know about you. I'm ready to pull my hair out. And I don't have much hair to pull out anymore.
I am in a bad mood because I want to go off on it too right now. You are 1,000% right. You know why? Because
I know
you people out there are filthy, disgraceful degenerates. That's why. Okay, that's what I'll call people. Filthy, disgraceful degenerates. Call me in Heated Hotline. Let's fight. Let's fight. because I agree with you. I've been to 2 events over the last month. A graduation at a major college here, ASU. I went to the ASU graduation, and I went to a funeral. The funeral was a joke. Absolute disgrace as far as I'm concerned. Flip-flops, T-shirts. What do you call those? Tank top T-shirts.
At a funeral?
And those were the women. So the guys, forget it. You don't even want to look at that. And at the graduation, I'm wearing a suit. It's not warm. It's not cool out, but I'm wearing a suit. Oh, my. I don't even want to get into it. Yeah, listen, Mark, you're preaching to the choir, and nobody washes their hands either. We could talk about that another time. But the point.
Oh, that's an obsession with you.
No, you're right, Mark. I have nothing else. I can't add to that. I can't add anything to that. People,
Joe, what do you think, Joe?
Disgusting. I'm with you on all of it. Disgusting.
I mean,
I had to shut my microphone off because I was like, oh, these people. But I would love to see at the next graduation, Mark, you show up with a Hawaiian shirt, flip-flops, and like a different color pair of skin shorts.
Joe, I'll take that, Joe. I'll take that in certain instances here. Oh, see, I think it's worse here, though. Joe, you have experience on the West Coast, too. California, forget it. I mean, but like, I think, Mark, it's worse here,
Oh, I'm sure it is. And listen, Joe, there's certain places, what you just said, the shirt, the flowered shirt, the shorts, that's perfectly appropriate. It's fine. But I just think at a formal event, you shouldn't be wearing that stuff. I'm sorry. Call me old school. Call me T-Rex like Chris. I'll be like Chris. Call me T-Rex. Call me a dinosaur. I don't know.
Why do I always have to
I just don't agree with that.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Hawaiian shirt. The Hawaiian shirt. Yeah.
There are those traditional things that, like, just, it's like where you got the thing that says formal right there. It's like, I don't understand it.
Yeah. Wear the Hawaiian shirt. You know when you wear the Hawaiian shirt? When you're taking a helicopter ride around a volcano across the island of Maui or Waikiki or one of these friggin' places.
No, I will just put my foot down. Don't ever wear a Hawaiian shirt unless you don't even wear it. Don't even bother getting out of the house with a Hawaiian shirt on.
Joe's got a problem with the Hawaiian shirts, Chris.
This is why I never leave my house. This is why. By the way, Tatum's got they're almost 2 minutes in the first quarter. Tatum's got 12 points, so maybe he's proving me wrong. That's good. Mark, you're absolutely right. People are filthy, disgraceful degenerates.
Right?
Period.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I didn't go that far. You're just in a bad mood tonight.
I'm going that far. Come on, challenge me. Fight with me. Good job, Mark. Good job. Good PSA. Catone's comments was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, when we come back, we're going to hear from one of you in the nation. Maybe they're going to be yelling at us, Mark. And that's going to be in Heated Hotline, and that's coming up right after this.
It's that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. Corso Law Group.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. And hey, Mark, just real quick, Tatum's got 12 points, but Jaylen Brown, he's 1 for 4 with 3 points. Okay?
Chris, listen.
So you're right. You're being proved right. I'm hopefully being proved wrong.
He has to go. Listen, he's still you'll get a good package for Jaylen Brown. And I'll throw Marcus Smart in the deal too. Take him and Smart and see what you can get for them.
Clean house. But right now, we want to hear from one of you in the nation. Heated Hotline. Joe, let's have it.
Hey, fellas, this is Steve out in Colorado. Love the show. Thanks for all the work you guys put in. Just listened to the show yesterday about predictions for next season, and I heard Catone's prediction for 4-6 and Corsos for 3-7. 3-7, man, I mean, they're not going to contend next year, but 3-7, I'll take the over on that all day. Joe, put this on the board. I'm taking the over on 3-7, and if you guys do somehow a live show for the Broncos game, I'm on the hook for steaks, drinks, you name it, for the whole crew. They are not going to be 3-7 at the break. So that's Steve in Colorado on the hook for the over. Thanks, guys.
Steve, he's on the hook for Joe. He's on the hook for steaks and everything else. Steve, you clearly have never seen Mark eat steak, because he could probably put away, 3 or 4 of those things. So
No. Never mind the steak. I don't care about the. He said drinks. Does he understand how expensive of a bourbon I'll drink all night?
Steve, I don't know, man.
We might have to take Steve up on that, Chris. We might have to go out and do a road trip to the Denver game.
We may have to do that, but he's lucky though, because it's on. He's saying that it's on Christmas Eve. That's that game that's on Christmas Eve.
Oh, what a joke! Come on, that's Steve. That's not fair, Steve.
I'll tell you what, Steve. You'll be on the hook for it the week after. How's that? We'll need a week to process how much steak and booze Mark and I can put away, and Joe and everybody else. So, okay. So, Steve, thank you for the call. He's a regular contributor. We appreciate that always. Yeah, I stand by me. I stand by 3-7. Listen, and he's talking about at the break, at the bye.
Yes,
okay.
He's talking about at the break.
Mark, look, they're not going to. Okay, so where am I wrong? I mean, right now I have them beating Indianapolis, the Washington, and the Saints. So where am I wrong? Am I wrong about the Eagles?
No, probably. I don't believe so.
Dolphins. Now, the only other win you have them is with the Jets, I think.
I have them beating the Jets, Chris, at New York. I'm going to say this. I think they're going to be 4-6, and I'm pretty confident in that 4-6 prediction. The only thing I'm not confident in, Chris, is maybe it's not the Jets. Maybe it's the Miami game they win. But they'll win one of those 2 games. I chose the Jets because I thought Rodgers would get off to a little bit of a slow start. Maybe he won't. But I do think, Chris, the Miami game at home or the Jets game, they will win one of those, and that's why they end up at 4-6. I do believe that. But I happen to pick the Jet game for them to win. So he was taking up with your 3 wins, the 3-7. He didn't say anything about the 4-6, but I'm guessing maybe he disagrees with me too.
You're always, it's Corso. Everybody's got an issue with Corso. Shut his mic off, will you, Joe? So listen.
Okay, so go through, Chris. Why do you think 3-7?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, you can flip a few of these games if you want. So I'm not going to go back on the Eagles. I mean, some of these games. The Cowboys, the Bills, the Dolphins, I can't give you back those. But, okay, so if you think that, hey, the Raiders game, they may win that game because they probably should have last year and all that stuff, okay, so that would be 4 wins. But as easily as you can say they'll beat the Raiders, look what happened with Chicago last year. They could go and play the Saints and get their ass kicked by the Saints and have that game. They always have that game against an opponent that they should beat, and they screw the pooch on it. So what else? Unless you think, okay, well, they could beat the Colts, or they're going to beat the Dolphins once, or like Mark says, the Jets. I stand by it. Maybe I'll give you 4 and come up to where Mark is for one of those other games. I just don't think it's going to be the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be engaged. Of course, he may be hurt. The dude's always hurt. You hurt his calf already. Hurt his calf. They're walking around, Mark. He hurt his calf. Hey, how about this? How about Aaron Rodgers gets hurt and Tom Brady comes out of retirement to play for the Jets? What do you think of that after he gets retired over here?
You told me to shut his mic off. I shut his mic off.
I wasn't serious.
Don't you listen to him, Joe. You're going to side with him. Listen, Chris, I don't think Brady can come out of retirement anymore now that they become a partial owner. I think he's done.
Because he filed his papers and he became, I don't know. Yeah, well.
I don't think you can become an official owner, Chris, as long as you are active in the league. He had to have filed his papers.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously I was being facetious that, I don't think Brady's coming out of retirement.
Well, no, let me tell you something, Chris. If Tua gets a concussion week 1,
but
I think he would have came back for Miami, maybe.
No, but yeah, Mark, I stand by it. Steve, I stand by that. I mean, tell me the other ones. Don't just call us and say we're crazy and you're going to give us stakes. Tell me what games. Call back. Tell us what games you're talking about. What games are they going to win? Mark, what are they going to win? So you think they beat the Jets or Miami? Can they beat the Cowboys?
I happen to pick the Jets. Those are my 4 wins, Chris.
You know, I mean, but there are
Even
games
if you
here
flip,
winning that they could lose very easily.
Even if I flipped and said, okay, maybe they can beat Dallas, right? But to your point, Chris, there's going to be one of those games we thought they were going to win that they'll lose because it happens every year. So no matter what, I still think it's 4.
You want to know why, Steve, really? Okay, and I'll do this really quick, okay? It's about the offense. It's about what Mark's been saying about the receiving room, that they just don't have enough to score points. And if you're going to try to play keep away, okay, Eagles defense, not good enough for them. Dolphins defense now with Ramsey and guys coming off injury. You're not good enough on offense. The Jets, same thing. Cowboys, same thing. Saints, Raiders, pretty good defense. Crosby, how many sacks he's going to get against those tackles? Okay, the Bills, again, that's probably one of the weaker defenses, actually, out of the ones I just mentioned, is the Buffalo Bills. But how are you going to stop Allen? Okay, Dolphins again. Commanders, by the way, the Commanders have a real good defense. So tell me on that
they
list,
don't have any offense. They have a good defense.
Which defense can be had then? I don't know.
Chris,
I stand by it.
The more I think about it, right? So I'm guessing based on what they drafted and based on, let me say this, based on who they didn't draft and what positions they didn't draft, I believe Belichick thinks with a great defense, he thinks he has the potential to have a great defense, good special teams, and a ball control offense that can at least move the chains with a great defense and good special teams. I think he believes that's enough to win 10 games and sneak in as a wild card. And I think his philosophy might be right. If he was in a different division, that's not going to work in the division he's in, Chris. You got teams that can score points. Listen, the Buffalo Bills, we believe, you and I believe, have regressed. But offensively, Chris, they still can score points. Miami's going to score points. Aaron Rodgers is going to score points. So Belichick's philosophy, Chris, I think might be right if they're in a different division. He's not taking, he's going to realize the division he's in, Chris. What he's thinking is not going to work in the AFC East. It's not happening.
Right. So again, I stand by my prediction again, as I said, and the defenses they're playing against is just too tough. I just, again, I don't see where the wiggle room is there. And by the way, I know what Belichick, he's thinking, well, we had 8 wins last year with a completely dysfunctional offense. The Green Bay game could have gone our way. And what was the other game? The Buffalo game, we had 2 kickoffs returned against us. So, when does that happen? So, we could have had 10 wins. Yeah, I get it. That's a flawed philosophy.
But Chris, the division is better. Again, I go back to the division you're in. The Jets are a lot better with Rodgers and the guys they brought on offense. You're not going to beat the Jets twice this year, Chris.
No,
you're not.
It's flawed.
We beat them twice last year. That's not happening.
And we don't have time to get to it, but the Patriots are losing 2 days of OTA practices because for rules violation.
No. We do. No. We do have time to get to it. Yes, we do. All right. We're not going to skip. We're not skipping over that.
We're going to take it out of Yankees Red Sox. All right.
I don't care. I'm not skipping over that.
To talk about that.
Chris.
All right, then let me read it to you. Patriots are losing 2 days of voluntary organized team activities due to violation of the offseason rules per league sources. Blah blah blah. Go ahead. What did you read today?
Today I read it was because of a special teams violation of your friend Joe Judge. Joe Judge?
Well, Mark, listen. Hey, I can understand why it would be special teams because that's all you drafted and that's all you took in free agency. So I guess you better get these guys up to speed on what the hell's going on that side of the ball. Yeah, I feel for the coaches on that side of the ball, Mark, because holy crap, all you gave me was special teams guys.
Allegedly, Chris, he ran a meeting indoors that went over the 4-hour limit. It was like 15 minutes over. And like you said, Chris, one of the veterans must have reported him. I don't know. But that's
Chris, what happened.
Just another typical example of Belichick has lost his fastball. and I hate to use that terminology because I know other stations are using it, but Chris, he used to have control of all of that stuff. Like, what's happening?
Well, when they broke the rules before, it was strategic. Now, because they lose now, it looks like they're disorganized. There's the difference. Losing, you're disorganized. You're winning, you're sly. You're sly. So they're losing the 2 OTAs, and they can use every minute they can get over there. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted and call us in Heated Hotline on it. But Heated Hotline was presented by Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Hey, when we come back, going to talk a little Yankees versus Red Sox. All that and more right after this.
It's the Special Sauce Podcast. You liking the song? The sauce is good, man. So start out with finance. Train them, trust them, and let them read. With your host, Marcus Arias.
Back in with Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Field. Mark, I am in a bad mood today. I'm saying things. I'm saying things over here going to break like right after this. They know it's right after this, right? What do I tell people, Joe? I have to tell people it's right after this. Of course, it's right after this. No,
Joe. I don't know. We gotta rein him in. I don't know what happened to him today. We gotta rein him in.
Somebody's got to check their pills.
Okay.
By the way, Chris, Tatum's got 12, but Brown and White have 11 apiece now. And we're up 15, just for the record.
Okay.
All right.
Prove us all wrong then. Okay. But let's switch gears to baseball season. It is. And we've neglected the Mark. So let's not do that any longer. Yankees versus Red Sox, Joe. So, Mark, they're in full swing now. We're hitting June. Okay, so it's time to start talking baseball a little bit, I think, right? I mean, they're hitting June, they're hitting their stride a little bit. We're starting to see trends and things from these teams as to where they may be or where they end up in the standing. So, talk about this. I mean, start with whoever you want, Yankees, Red Sox, but where are they right now?
With the Red Sox, Chris. I'll start with the Red Sox, right? Because everybody knows where Yankee fans. So I'll start with the Red Sox. The Red Sox, Chris, honestly, are doing a hell of a lot better than well, I shouldn't say that. They started out doing a hell of a lot better than you and I thought they were going to do, but guess what? They're almost back to 500, and you and I said they might be an 80-win team, 85 wins. So that's right around 500, and right now they're 2 games over 500. So they are who we thought they were going to be. I think they are actually getting a little better pitching, Chris, than we thought. Chris Sale actually has looked like the old Chris Sale his last 4 starts. He's pitching well. Whitlock is pitching well. They don't have anybody else 3 through 5. I think that's part of their problem. If they could get somebody else that could step up, the guy they got from Cleveland was with Cleveland. He's 100 years old. What the heck's his name? Corey Kluber's now been put in the bullpen.
Oh, yeah, they put him in the bullpen. He's got an ERA of 6, and he's 2-6 in the last 8. So.
He should probably be released. I don't know what you're doing with him, even on the roster anymore. I mean, you gave him a shot. Maybe you could catch fire, but that's not happening. And the other thing with the Red Sox, Chris, is so they're coming back to where I think they are. I think they're a 500 team. I think they're going to be entertaining. I think they do the little things right. They steal bases. They hit the ball. I don't think they have the pitching, the starting pitching to you can only outscore teams so many times. And if you look at their record against teams that are over 500, Chris, they're winning. They're beating teams that are under 500.
See, that's the telling stat.
That's a telling stat. They're not beating good. Like they're 0 for. I think they're 0 for 4 against like Tampa, and they're not beating good teams, right? They're beating the teams they should be beating, which is great. But as they start to get more into the tougher part of that schedule, where you're going to play teams like Houston, you're going to play teams like, they haven't played the Yankees yet. You're going to have to play, Baltimore more. I think they're 500 against Baltimore right now. When you start to play those teams, you start to play Texas, and those teams have pitching and can hit. You're going to see the Red Sox fall even further behind, I think, in my opinion. And so I think the Red Sox are what we thought they were.
Yeah, they're 10 games out from Tampa, and meanwhile, the team that's 6.5 games out right now with a Boston's 26 and 24. So you're right, 500 team. And here come the Yankees at 30 and 21, 6.5 games out. What do you make of this team? They went into a real bad place.
They did, Chris, and they had a lot of injuries. Listen, and not that it's an excuse, but they had like 3 starting pitchers out. Stanton was out. Judge was out. Harrison Bader, who's really playing well for them, the guy they picked up last year in the trade, who also was hurt part of the season last year, even when they got him in the trade. He's playing really well. He's key. And you know what they're doing, Chris, finally? I think they watched Corso and Catone. We said, why are you sticking with guys like Hicks? Bring up the young guys and give them a shot. And lo and behold, they brought up a couple of young guys. They released Hicks. The rumor is they may eat Josh Donaldson's contract. They're thinking about it because they're now bringing up the young kids. You got to go with them, Chris. Volpe is not hitting for average, but the kid
ball
is giving
is smaller.
Them a spark.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
The kid's giving him a spark. Judge is healthy now, Chris. Judge is Judge. He's hitting the ball. He's a monster, right? He's going to put up MVP stats every year, I think, if he stays healthy. He is what he is. You paid him the money. He's worth the money. And we talked about it, Chris. You had to re-sign him, and they did. They're going to get some pitchers back off the injured list. The Yankees are going to make the playoffs, Chris. Whether or not it's as division champion or whether or not it's as a wild card, they're going to make the playoffs. The problem with the Yankees is, are they going to be the same old Yankees in the postseason? Can they do things differently and manufacture runs? Because Houston's getting hot again. So Houston's going to be in the playoffs. You look at their record, they're getting hot again. They're like 10 games over 500. So Houston's going to be there, So can we produce enough runs to beat teams like that? I don't know, Chris. But the Yankees will be in the playoffs. They are who we thought they'd be. But I don't know if that's enough, Chris. I don't know if they've changed the lineup enough. And as the summer starts to kick in, we'll talk about that.
The ball has gotten smaller a little bit with these guys they brought up, that they're doing some of the small things. They're playing a little bit more small ball. They're taking advantage of, Volpe and some of these guys over there that can do that kind of stuff. But are they willing to stay with it? Are they willing to take Judge and maybe another bat or two and build around that with this kind of baseball? Because that's the only way you're going to win. It's the only way you're going to win in the playoffs. The rules have changed. They allow for that more. That's it. You're not hitting the ball out of the park in the playoffs. You can't do it. Right?
No, they got the kid Bowers, the young kid. They brought him up. So they do have they are infusing younger guys into this lineup. Like you said, Chris, can it work? Can it continue into the playoffs? Do you bring up a couple of more young guys and see, and play that small ball? I think that's the only way you're going to win in the playoffs, Chris. I'm going to be honest with you, because they've tried it the last 5 years. The formula that they've been using doesn't work.
So we'll see what happens. We want to hear from you in Heated Hotline. Let us know what you think about that. Baseball's back on this show anyway. And so make sure you come back 7 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we're going to have more Celtics, and we'll talk a little Bruins there because Bruce Cassidy's about to go to the finals. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Yankees versus Red Sox. Your calls, anything's on the table. Remember, Mark and I are prepared for anything you bring to us. So stump us, yell at us, fight with us. I'm in a foul mood. Let's see what happens next week. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Find Corso and Catone on iHeartRadio, iTunes, or wherever you podcast. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, Corso and Catone, and catch the chaos at 7 p.m. on Saturday.